First thing we're going to talk about is a segment. Any preconceived ideas about what a segment is? Piece of a line, right? Oops. Consists of two endpoints. And all points in between. And there is special notation that goes along with this when we're discussing the segments. First segment we could talk about is AB. So A and B would be our endpoints. But because we need to distinguish the difference between this and a line, and in a minute we're going to talk about array, if we're talking about a segment, we need just a single bar over the top, no arrows. Okay, order does not matter here, so we could use AB or DA. It would represent the same piece of line. We could also look at BC. Again, order doesn't matter. So CB names the same segment. But there's a third one that I have not named. What would it be? Yes. AC. Or CA would be okay as well. So when you're correcting, you don't have to give both names, but just know with segments, if you had AC and they had CA, that is okay. Order doesn't matter with the segment. So there are only 3 segments on this particular diagram. One of your homework problems will tell you to name all the segments in a diagram. So you want the little ones, medium-sized ones if there are any, and then the big one. Okay. The next thing that we need to talk about would be a array. Okay. What's one of the most famous rays we know of? That's a good example, yeah. X-ray. What's the big yellow thing in the sky? Sun. Off of the sun come rays, right? And based on what we know about light, if there were nothing there to stop those rays of light, what would happen with them? They go on forever, right? Because that's what a ray does. It starts at an end point and goes on forever in one direction. So a ray is the part of a line consisting of one end point and all the points in one direction without end. Okay, might want to tack on special note here. When we name these or talk about them, order matters. We're going to use the same diagram that we did up here to name some of these. capitals, I guess. C. You won't have to write this on your homework, but just in case you go back to your notes to look at this. We have rays going to the right, okay? So if I talked about AC, your over the top is going to be an arrow always to the right. Some people, they think if they're talking about the ones going to the left, they should change their arrow. You don't change the arrow. The arrow always goes to the right. That's one of those things, if you go into college and you do one to the left, they're going to think you're silly. They're going to wonder what their geometry teacher taught them. Okay? Your arrow always goes to the right. But here's how we determine the direction. Okay? The first letter is the end point. Okay? The second letter gives us the direction. So this notation tells me I'm talking about the ray that starts at A and goes through C. All right? There's another way to name that exact same ray. If it's a ray that starts at A and goes to the right for this diagram, what's another way I could name it? Thought I'd wake you guys up. It starts here and goes to the right. Yeah. AB would name the exact same ray because it tells me to start at A and go in that direction, right? So we're going to put or AB would name the exact same ray. Okay, I have another ray that goes to the right that's different from AC. BC, that is a different ray. Why? Starts at B, so it doesn't include the points between A and B. That is a totally different ray. Different starting point, might go the same direction, but it is a different ray. Okay, so to the right, I have those, and I have that one. But I do have some rays going the opposite direction. Okay, what's a ray that goes the other way that I can name? BA starts at B and goes to the left. But notice my arrow still goes to the right. That's just the proper notation. So I have BA. What else am I missing? CA. Or we'll say, or I could name that one CB as well. Yes? So really there's 4 rays up there that I can name. If there are 2 names for the same ray, you don't have to give them both, but be aware when you correct, they might have used the other name. What you want to be concerned with is your starting point and make sure your direction is good. Okay? All right, so that takes us through rays. And the last thing you need to know about rays, and this is usually the one that people struggle with the most, we need to understand when we have opposite rays. For opposite rays, big thing is they're collinear. So if your rays make an angle of any kind, they're not opposite rays. They have the same end point. So if the first ray starts with B, the second ray had better start with B if they're going to be opposite. And they go in an opposite direction no gaps, and no overlaps. So if you put two rays together and they form a line without a space in between or an overlap, you've got opposite rays. Okay? In a picture, the easiest way to name them So if I asked you from this picture to give me two rays that are opposite rays, a visual that you could use is to pick an endpoint where you can name opposite rays. For instance, I could use B, put a line through it. If they're opposite rays, you want one of them going that way and one of them going this way. Okay, so I could use BA and BC or D, all right? We'll just do BD. Okay, BA and BD are opposite rays. I could name another pair in the same diagram, C. Starting at C and going left and starting at C and going right. So another pair could be CA and CD. Those are opposite rays. Okay, but could BA and CD be opposite rays? BA and CD. Are there gaps? There's a gap. That BC in between is a problem. Okay, so from here out, they go in opposite directions, but they don't share the same endpoint. How about CA and BD? They overlap. Okay, so those don't work either. As long as they share the same first letter and go in opposite directions, are good. Okay, so those are opposite rays.